Hey everyone, welcome back to the English Hour. It's Sophia here, and today, we're going to explore something that's been on my mind lately: how to deal with uncertainty in life. Whether it's career changes, personal growth, or just the unpredictability of day-to-day life, uncertainty can often feel overwhelming. I'm really excited to have Jacob with me today to dive into this topic. How's it going, Jacob?
Hey, Sophia, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back. And wow, uncertainty, that's a big one. It's something that everyone deals with at some point in life. And I think it's important to talk about how we handle it. So I'm really looking forward to today's conversation.
Absolutely. Jacob, I've noticed that a lot of people struggle with uncertainty, and it can hold them back from making decisions or moving forward. Do you think that's true? Like, when we don't know exactly what's ahead, it can paralyze us.
Oh, definitely. Uncertainty can create a lot of anxiety because it triggers that fear of the unknown. People often want control, and when they don't have it, they freeze. But I think what people don't realize is that uncertainty is a part of life, and it doesn't have to be a bad thing. In fact, it can be a powerful catalyst for growth.
I love that perspective. Uncertainty isn't something to fear, but something to embrace. It's like the unknown is full of potential, right? Even though we might not have a clear picture of the future, it doesn't mean we should stop moving forward.
Exactly, think of it this way: when we know exactly what's ahead, there's less room for creativity, risk taking, and even excitement. Uncertainty opens up space for all of that. It's in those uncertain moments where we get to test our abilities, step out of our comfort zones, and discover new paths we wouldn't have considered if we had everything figured out.
That's a really great point. It's almost like uncertainty is the birthplace of innovation and discovery. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history happened because people were willing to venture into the unknown. So, instead of fearing it, we should learn to lean into it.
Absolutely. And one thing I've learned over the years is that even when you don't have all the answers, you can still take small steps in the right direction. It's all about trusting the process. Sometimes we just have to keep moving forward with what we know and let the pieces fall into place as we go.
That's such a great approach. Instead of needing to know everything up front, we can trust that as long as we keep moving, we'll gather the information and experience we need along the way. It's about taking action, even if we don't have all the answers.
Right? And even when things don't go as planned, it's still progress. Every challenge or setback is a lesson in disguise. So even if the outcome isn't what we expected, we've still gained something valuable from the experience.
It's like what they say: you never fail, you only learn. So, when we look at uncertainty from that lens, it becomes less intimidating. It's not about trying to avoid mistakes, it's about learning from them and using them to grow.
Yes, and that's where the magic happens: when we embrace the uncertainty and give ourselves permission to fail forward. Every experience, whether it's a success or a failure, is part of the bigger picture that's shaping our lives.
Exactly. So, for anyone out there listening who's feeling a little lost or uncertain about what comes next, I'd say take a deep breath and remind yourself that it's okay to not have all the answers right now. Just keep taking small, intentional steps and trust that the path will reveal itself as you go.
Exactly, the more you embrace uncertainty, the more it becomes a natural part of your journey. And remember, life is about progress, not perfection. It's okay to not have everything figured out, because none of us do. We're all figuring it out as we go.
That's such an important message. Life isn't a destination, it's a journey. So we shouldn't put too much pressure on ourselves to have it all figured out. Instead, let's focus on the present, take things one step at a time, and trust that things will work out in the end.
Absolutely. And for anyone who feels like uncertainty is holding them back, I'd encourage you to start by taking one small action today, even if it feels uncomfortable. That first step can help you break free from the paralysis that uncertainty can cause and get the momentum going.
That's a perfect tip, Jacob. It's all about action, even if it's just a tiny step. The key is to not let uncertainty stop you from moving forward. So, if you're facing an uncertain situation, don't let fear control you. Instead, take that first step and let the rest unfold as you go.
And remember, you're not alone in feeling uncertain. We all go through it, and it's okay to lean on your support system during those times. Whether it's friends, family, or even a mentor, having someone to talk to can help you feel more confident in navigating the unknown.
So true, Jacob. No one has to face uncertainty alone. Having people around you who support you can give you the strength to face whatever challenges come your way. So, reach out, ask for help, and remember that it's okay to not have it all figured out right away.
Absolutely. Uncertainty doesn't have to be scary. It's an opportunity for growth, creativity, and learning. Embrace it, take action, and trust that you'll find your way.
Such great advice, Jacob. And with that, we're coming to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you to all our listeners for tuning in. I hope you feel inspired to embrace uncertainty and take action, even when things aren't clear. Remember, it's all part of the journey.
Thanks again for having me, Sophia, and to everyone listening. I hope this episode helped you see uncertainty in a new light. Stay courageous, stay positive, and take that first step. You've got this.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the English Hour. We'll be back with more inspiring conversations soon. Until then, take care, and keep moving forward.
See you next time, everyone. Keep embracing the unknown.
Jacob, as we're wrapping things up, I can't help but think about how often we try to control everything in our lives. But the truth is, control is an illusion. So, how do you think we can find peace in accepting that we can't control everything?
That's such an important point, Sophia. I think peace comes when we realize that trying to control every aspect of life is just exhausting. We need to let go of the need for control and trust that life will unfold as it's meant to. When we accept the uncertainty, we free ourselves from that constant pressure to have everything planned out.
That's so true. And it's something I think a lot of people struggle with. There's this fear that if we don't control every little detail, everything will fall apart. But in reality, life has a way of working itself out, and often, it works out even better than we could have imagined.
Exactly, life has its own rhythm, and sometimes the best things come when we least expect them. The more we try to control, the more we resist the natural flow of things. And when we resist, we end up feeling frustrated and stuck. But when we let go, we open ourselves up to so much more possibility.
I think that's a really powerful way to look at it. When we let go of the need to control, we give ourselves the space to experience life as it is without the added stress of trying to make everything fit into a specific mold. It's about learning to trust the process and being open to where it takes us.
And I think once we make peace with that, we start to find more joy in the small moments. We start appreciating the unpredictability of life rather than fearing it. It's like we start dancing with uncertainty instead of wrestling with it.
I love that analogy, dancing with uncertainty. It's such a beautiful way to put it. When we stop fighting the unknown and start embracing it, we actually begin to enjoy the journey more. There's freedom in letting go, and there's beauty in allowing ourselves to just be, without trying to control every outcome.
Yeah, and I think that's where real growth happens when we stop trying to control every step. We give ourselves permission to experience life fully. We stop being so focused on the destination and start enjoying the process, trusting that we're exactly where we need to be, even if it doesn't feel that way in the moment.
So well said, Jacob. I think it all comes down to surrendering not to defeat, but to the flow of life. We're not giving up. We're simply accepting that there are things beyond our control, and that's okay. In fact, it's a part of the adventure.
Right? And when we surrender to the flow of life, we become more present. We stop worrying so much about the future or regretting the past. Instead, we focus on what's right in front of us, and we start to see things we may have missed before.
That's a great point. Being present And accepting uncertainty allows us to experience life in a way we couldn't if we were constantly worried about controlling every little detail. Life becomes more spontaneous, more vibrant, and we begin to appreciate the beauty of each moment.
Absolutely. And I think once you start accepting uncertainty and letting go of the need for control, you begin to develop a sense of trust in yourself, trust in the universe in the process. It's a liberating feeling.
It really is. And when we trust the process, we give ourselves permission to just be. We stop overthinking and start living more authentically. It's like we're no longer holding onto a rigid plan, but allowing ourselves to flow with what life has to offer.
And I think that's when life becomes truly exciting. The unpredictability gives us room to dream, explore, and grow. So, for anyone listening, my advice would be to embrace that uncertainty and trust that everything is unfolding as it should.
Such great advice, Jacob. I couldn't agree more. Life doesn't have to be so rigid. It can be a wonderful adventure if we're willing to let go and allow ourselves to be open to whatever comes next.
Exactly. So, as we finish up today's episode, I hope everyone listening feels inspired to let go of the need for control and start embracing life's beautiful uncertainty. Remember, you don't need to have it all figured out. Just keep moving, keep trusting, and let life unfold in its own time.
Absolutely. It's been such a great conversation today. Thank you again, Jacob, for sharing your wisdom. And thank you to all our listeners for tuning in. I hope this episode has given you a new perspective on uncertainty and helped you feel a little more at peace with the unknown.
Thanks for having me, Sophia. It's always a pleasure to be part of the English Hour. And to everyone out there, remember, life is unpredictable, and that's what makes it so beautiful. Embrace it, and don't be afraid to dance with uncertainty.
Such a perfect way to wrap it up. Take care, everyone, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more episodes. We'll see you in the next one, where we'll continue to explore life's greatest lessons. Until then, keep trusting the journey. Jacob, I've been thinking a lot about what we've talked about, and I feel like a lot of people struggle with the concept of trust, especially when it comes to uncertainty. How do you build trust in yourself when things feel out of control?
That's such a great question, Sophia. I think building trust in yourself starts with small wins. Every time you make a decision, whether it's big or small, and you follow through, you reinforce that trust in yourself. It's like any relationship. The more you show up for yourself, the more you realize you can rely on yourself, even when things are uncertain.
That's so true. It's easy to get caught up in the big picture, but it's the small, consistent actions that build our confidence and trust. It's almost like creating a track record of trust in ourselves, where each little step adds up to something bigger.
Exactly, and over time, those small steps build momentum. The more you follow through, the more you trust yourself to handle whatever comes your way. And it's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about being kind to yourself and acknowledging that you're doing your best.
Yes, and that kindness is so important. Often, we can be our own harshest critics. But if we treat ourselves with the same understanding and encouragement we'd give a friend, we'll be able to build that trust more easily. It's about treating ourselves with compassion as we navigate the uncertainty.
Absolutely. And I think a big part of building trust is letting go of the fear of making mistakes. Because mistakes are a part of growth. Instead of beating yourself up, it's more about saying, okay, I didn't get it right this time, but what can I learn from this? When we view mistakes as opportunities, they no longer feel like failures, but rather stepping stones.
That's such an empowering way to look at it. If we see mistakes as lessons rather than failures, we take away the shame and guilt that often hold us back. It allows us to move forward with more courage and confidence, knowing that each experience is helping us grow.
Exactly. And when we start to reframe our perspective like that, we also start to develop resilience. We learn that it's not about avoiding mistakes, it's about bouncing back from them and keeping that trust in ourselves intact. Life isn't about avoiding the storm, it's about learning how to dance in the rain.
I love that analogy, dancing in the rain. Resilience is really about staying grounded, even when things feel uncertain. It's like being in the middle of a storm. But instead of running from it, you embrace it, knowing that you'll come out stronger on the other side.
That's exactly it. And when you start embracing that resilience, you begin to feel more at peace with the unknown. It's not that uncertainty will never feel uncomfortable, but you'll develop the confidence to face it head on. The more you lean into it, the less power it has over you.
It's almost like building a muscle, right? The more we practice resilience and trust, the stronger we become. It's about training ourselves to trust that we can handle whatever comes our way, even if we don't have all the answers.
100%. And I think a key part of this is being willing to let go of perfection. The goal isn't to have it all figured out right now. The goal is to keep moving forward, even if we don't know exactly what the next step will be. Perfection only creates more pressure, and when we let go of it, we free ourselves to move with more ease.
Yes, letting go of perfection frees us up to be more authentic and real. It takes the pressure off, and we can just show up as we are. And that's enough. We don't have to have everything under control, as long as we're making progress and learning along the way.
Exactly. And I think when we let go of that pressure to be perfect, we allow ourselves to fully embrace life as it comes. We stop focusing on getting everything right and start focusing on enjoying the experience. Life becomes less about following a set of rules and more about discovering what works for us along the way.
I love that shift in perspective. Life is about discovery, not about adhering to a rigid plan. And by being open to uncertainty, we create space for creativity, growth, and exploration. We allow ourselves to just be, instead of constantly trying to meet expectations.
That's where the real magic happens, when we stop focusing on controlling every detail and start trusting ourselves in the process. When we let go of perfection and embrace the journey, we unlock so much potential that we didn't even know we had.
Exactly. And it's amazing how much more we can enjoy life when we stop trying to control everything. It's all about being present, taking things as they come, and trusting that everything will fall into place as it's meant to.
And with that, we're creating space for more peace, creativity, and fulfillment. We stop living in fear of the unknown, and instead, we start living in the moment with a sense of trust in ourselves and the world around us.
Well said, Jacob. I think we've covered a lot today, and I hope it's been helpful for our listeners. If you're feeling uncertain or overwhelmed, just remember, it's okay not to have everything figured out. Trust in yourself, embrace the journey, and keep moving forward.
Exactly. Take one step at a time, trust the process, and enjoy the ride. And remember, you're not alone. Everyone is navigating their own journey, and uncertainty is a part of it. It's how we respond to it that truly matters.
Such a great note to end on. Thanks so much, Jacob, for joining me today. I always enjoy our conversations.
Thank you for having me, Sophia. It's been a pleasure as always. And to everyone listening, we hope today's episode helps you embrace uncertainty and trust the process. Keep moving forward, and remember, life is about enjoying the journey, not just reaching the destination.
Exactly. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the English Hour. We'll be back with more episodes soon. Take care and keep embracing the unknown. Jacob, you've said so many insightful things today, and it's really got me thinking. When you're faced with uncertainty, it's easy to get stuck in the fear of the unknown. But I believe that sometimes, fear can be a signal for growth. What do you think about that?
I totally agree, Sophia. Fear often gets a bad rap, but it's actually a natural response to stepping out of our comfort zones. It's that little voice telling us that we're on the edge of something new and unknown. And while it may feel uncomfortable, it's in those moments of discomfort that we find our biggest opportunities for growth.
Exactly. Fear doesn't have to paralyze us. It can actually propel us forward if we learn how to channel it. When we face fear with curiosity instead of resistance, we open ourselves to new possibilities. It's almost like fear is a doorway to something better, as long as we're willing to walk through it.
I love that perspective. Fear is often a sign that we're pushing our boundaries, and that's where the magic happens. Whether it's starting a new project, making a big change in life, or even just trying something new, fear shows us that we're about to step into unfamiliar territory. And that's where growth lies.
So true. And I think the key is not to let the fear dictate our actions. Instead of avoiding it or trying to shut it down, we can acknowledge it and move forward anyway. It's like we're telling ourselves, I see you, fear, but I'm going to keep going.
Absolutely. It's all about taking control of how we respond to fear. When we let fear stop us, we stay stuck in our comfort zones. But when we push through it, we expand our limits and discover new strengths we didn't know we had. Fear becomes just a part of the process, not the end of it.
And that's when we start to build resilience. The more we face our fears, the more we learn to trust ourselves and our ability to handle whatever comes our way. Every time we conquer a fear, we add a little more confidence to our inner toolkit.
Exactly. It's like exercising a muscle. At first, it feels challenging, but the more we practice, the stronger we become. And over time, we develop the ability to look at fear and say, okay, I'm not going to let you control me. I'm in charge here.
I love that. I'm in charge here. It's empowering to think that we have the power to choose how we react to fear, uncertainty, and challenges. By taking ownership of our responses, we regain control of the situation, rather than letting the situation control us.
And that's the difference between living reactively and living proactively. When we let fear dictate our actions, we're reacting to the circumstances. But when we take control, we're choosing how to move forward, regardless of what the situation looks like. It's about creating a mindset of empowerment.
Yes, shifting from being reactive to being proactive is a game changer. It's all about mindset. When we decide that fear won't stop us, we become more resilient, more resourceful, and ultimately, more successful. It's about taking control of the narrative and writing our own story.
Exactly, and in that way, fear becomes something we can work with, not something we have to work around. It's no longer an obstacle, but a part of the journey that helps us grow. The more we face it, the more we realize that fear doesn't have to define us. It's just a temporary feeling that we can move beyond.
I love that idea, fear as a temporary feeling that doesn't define us. It's so freeing to think of it that way. And I think a lot of people would benefit from remembering that when they feel afraid, it's just a passing moment, not a permanent state.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that fear is completely normal. Everyone experiences it at some point or another, whether it's about a big life decision or just stepping outside our comfort zone. The key is not to avoid it, but to embrace it as a part of the process. We're all on this journey together.
Yes, and once we accept fear as a natural part of life, it becomes easier to move through it. Instead of fighting it, we can make peace with it and continue moving forward. It's like learning to dance with our fears instead of running away from them.
I love that dancing with our fears. When we accept that fear will always be a part of the equation, we stop fighting against it. Instead, we can dance with it, acknowledge it, and keep moving toward what we truly want.
What a great metaphor for life. The dance of life, with all its ups and downs, its challenges and fears. But instead of letting those challenges stop us, we dance with them, embrace them, and move forward with grace.
Exactly. And that's where the beauty of life lies, in the dance itself. It's not about the destination, but the journey, the steps, and the growth we experience along the way.
Well said, Jacob. I feel like this conversation has really shifted my perspective on fear and uncertainty. It's not something to be avoided, but something to be embraced, worked with, and ultimately, learned from.
I'm so glad to hear that, Sophia. And I hope our listeners feel the same way. Fear and uncertainty can be powerful teachers if we're open to learning from them. So, if you're listening and feeling uncertain about something in your life, just remember, you don't have to have everything figured out. Take one step at a time and trust that you're on the right path.
That's the perfect note to end on, Jacob. Thank you so much for being part of today's episode. It's been such an inspiring conversation, and I know our listeners are going to walk away feeling more empowered to face their fears and embrace uncertainty.
Thank you for having me, Sophia. It's always a pleasure to join the English Hour. And to everyone listening, keep dancing with your fears, keep embracing the journey, and remember life is meant to be lived, not controlled.
Absolutely. Thanks to everyone for tuning in today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the English Hour for more insightful conversations. Until next time, take care and keep moving forward. Before we wrap up, Jacob, you mentioned something earlier that stuck with me: the idea of taking small steps, even when we're unsure. I think that's such an important part of this journey. Sometimes, just taking that first step, even if it's small, can create a ripple effect. What advice would you give to someone who feels stuck and unsure of how to start?
That's a great question, Sophia. The first step is always the hardest, right? But I think it's important to recognize that starting doesn't have to be this big, overwhelming leap. It can be a tiny action. Maybe it's writing down a goal, making one phone call, or even just reading an article related to what you want to do. It's about breaking it down into manageable pieces. The key is not to wait for the perfect moment, because that moment may never come. Just start, even if it's with something small.
I love that idea: small steps leading to bigger progress. Sometimes we can get caught up in the idea that we need to have everything figured out before we take action. But you're right. Sometimes it's just about making a start, no matter how small it seems.
Exactly. And once you take that first step, you'll start to build momentum. It's like a snowball effect. It might seem insignificant at first, but the more you do it, the easier it gets and the more confident you become. That's how growth happens, one small, consistent step at a time.
That's such a powerful reminder. It's easy to get caught up in the end result, but the journey itself, those small, consistent steps, is what creates lasting change. If we focus on the process rather than the outcome, we can free ourselves from the pressure of needing to be perfect.
Exactly. And I think that's something a lot of people overlook. They're so focused on the destination that they forget about the power of the journey. The journey shapes us, teaches us, and helps us develop the skills and resilience we need to reach that destination. So, rather than waiting for perfection, just focus on progress.
Progress, not perfection. That's something we could all use a little more of in our lives. It's easy to compare ourselves to others, but everyone's journey is different. What matters is that we're moving forward in our own way, at our own pace.
Absolutely. Everyone's path is unique, and that's what makes it special. So if you're feeling stuck, remember that the small steps you take today are the foundation for the success you'll see tomorrow. Don't compare your journey to someone else's, because they're likely facing their own challenges and uncertainties.
Such great advice, Jacob. I think we all need to hear that more often, that our journey is valid, no matter how slow or fast we move. It's all about taking that first step, no matter how small, and trusting that the next step will reveal itself.
Exactly. And when we trust the process, we learn to embrace the uncertainty. We stop trying to control every outcome and instead focus on what we can do in the present moment. Sometimes the best thing we can do is simply show up, even if we're not sure where we're headed.
That's so true. Just showing up, being present, and doing what we can each day, that's the secret to moving forward. Even if we don't have the whole plan figured out, the act of showing up is already a win. It means we're committed, and that commitment will eventually pay off.
Exactly. And the great thing is, every day is a new opportunity to take that next step. So, no matter where you are in your journey, don't be discouraged. As long as you're moving forward, no matter how small the steps you're progressing.
Well said, Jacob. And to everyone listening, remember that it's okay to not have it all figured out. It's okay to take it one step at a time. Don't let fear or uncertainty hold you back. Just start, and the rest will unfold as you go.
Absolutely. Keep taking those small steps, embrace the process, and trust that everything will come together. And most importantly, enjoy the journey. The destination will come when it's meant to.
Beautifully said, Jacob. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. I know I've learned a lot, and I'm sure our listeners have too.
Thank you for having me, Sophia. It's always a pleasure to be here, and I hope today's conversation helps someone out there feel a little more empowered to take that first step.
I'm sure it will. And to everyone listening, we hope today's episode has inspired you to embrace the journey, take those small steps, and trust that you're exactly where you need to be. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the English Hour for more conversations like this one. Until next time, keep moving forward, and take care. Jacob, I can't help but think about how powerful small steps can be. It's amazing how something so simple can turn into something big over time. What's something you've done, even if it seems small at the time, that has led to a significant change in your life?
That's a great question, Sophia. I think for me, one of the small steps that made a huge difference was simply committing to reading for 30 minutes every day. I didn't start with a huge goal of reading several books a month or anything. I just made the decision to dedicate that time every day, even if it was in small chunks. Over time, it's not just the knowledge I gained from those books, but the habit itself that really transformed how I approach learning and growth. It's incredible how something that seemed so small at the time became such an important part of my routine.
Wow, that's a fantastic example. It's not always about making big, dramatic changes. Sometimes, just dedicating a small portion of our time each day can create lasting impact. I think that's something a lot of people overlook. Focusing on making major shifts, instead of starting with something manageable and consistent.
Absolutely. And the beauty of that approach is that it's sustainable. Small, consistent actions are often more powerful than trying to force big changes all at once. It's much easier to commit to a small task and gradually build momentum than to tackle something massive from the get-go. Plus, as you said, that small action becomes part of your routine and can grow over time into something much bigger.
I love how you put that: small, consistent actions that build momentum. That's a concept I think we can all apply in different areas of our lives. Whether it's personal development, work, or even relationships, those little efforts every day really add up. It's like building a solid foundation, one brick at a time.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the keys to success in anything we do. It's not about expecting instant results, but understanding that growth takes time. We plant the seeds today, and with patience and consistency, we can watch them blossom over time.
Patience now, that's a tough one for a lot of people. In today's world, we're so used to quick fixes and instant gratification. But real growth, the kind that lasts, often requires patience. It's hard to keep going when you don't see immediate results. But it's that perseverance through the quiet periods that makes all the difference.
You're so right, Sophia. The challenge is that we often want results right now, but growth is a slow process, and that's completely okay. In fact, it's part of what makes it so rewarding. When we stick with something long enough to see it through, the sense of accomplishment is much greater than any instant result could provide.
Yes, and I think part of what makes that journey worthwhile is the lessons we learn along the way. Every small setback, every struggle, and every obstacle teaches us something valuable. So, even though the path might seem slow at times, each step, each lesson, contributes to our growth.
Exactly. The obstacles and setbacks are just as important as the progress we make. They help us develop resilience, teach us how to navigate challenges, and ultimately make us more capable of handling future hurdles. It's all part of the process of growing into the person we're meant to be.
I couldn't agree more. In fact, it's through those moments of struggle that we often find our greatest strengths. When things aren't going smoothly, it's easy to think that we're failing. But those moments are often the turning points in our journey. They're where we find out what we're really made of.
That's such a powerful insight. Struggles don't define us, how we respond to them does. The challenges we face are just a part of the story, but it's our ability to push through them that shapes who we become. And sometimes those moments of difficulty end up being the most transformative parts of our journey.
Absolutely. And when we look back at those moments, we often realize that they were the ones that made us stronger, wiser, and more prepared for what's next. It's like the saying goes, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
It's true, and I think that's something we can all remind ourselves of when we face difficulties. Instead of seeing challenges as roadblocks, we can choose to see them as stepping stones. Each challenge is an opportunity to grow, and each one brings us closer to becoming the person we're meant to be.
I love that shift in perspective. Turning challenges into opportunities for growth changes the way we approach life entirely. Instead of fearing difficulties, we can learn to embrace them, knowing that they are a necessary part of the journey.
Exactly. The more we embrace that mindset, the less intimidating those challenges become. They're no longer something to avoid or fear, but something to learn from and grow through. It's all about shifting our perspective to see the value in every experience, no matter how difficult it may seem at the time.
And that's a powerful way to live, don't you think? Embracing life with curiosity and resilience. Knowing that everything, even the tough times, holds something valuable for us to learn and grow from.
I couldn't agree more. It's all about seeing the bigger picture and understanding that growth isn't linear. There will be ups and downs, but every step forward counts, and every setback is just another part of the path.
Well said, Jacob. I think this conversation has been such an empowering reminder to focus on progress, embrace the journey, and trust that every step we take is moving us closer to where we're meant to be. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today.
Thank you, Sophia. It's always a pleasure to have these kinds of deep, meaningful conversations. And I hope anyone listening can take away something valuable from this episode to help them on their own journey.
I'm sure they will. And to everyone listening, remember, no matter where you are in your journey, take it one step at a time. Keep moving forward, and trust that every challenge is part of the bigger picture. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the English Hour for more inspiring conversations. Until next time, take care and keep growing.